I pumped myself up and started reviewing the events of the previous today.
上一个今天，
On the last
因为吃
day,
饭花了不少
because
时
lunch
间，
took some time, I
所以
didn't
我没
send
有让格雷
Gricio
修
to
去
meet
见凯
Kevin
文
and
和
Sue.
苏，
Instead,
而是直
I
接找
led
到了
her
华。
straight to Hua.
因为格雷修事实
Since
上早就
Gricio
学
had
会了播
already
种，
learned how to plant
华会因
seeds,
此想
I
起自
knew
己的
that it
往
would
事，
trigger Hua's
并给予格
memory
雷
and
修
give
新的思考。
Gricio some new thoughts.
在紧随其后的
In
猫
the
鼠
cat
游
and
戏
mouse game that
我主
followed,
动提
I took the
议让格雷修
initiative
观察
and
世界。
proposed that Gricio should observe that world.
在我们听完
After
小
we
男孩和
listened
小
to the
女孩的对话之
conversation
后，
between the little boy and the
今天
girl, today
就
seemed
似
to
乎因为格
reset
雷
due to
修产
certain
生了某
thoughts
种
of
与
Gricio
幕后
running
力量相悖
counter
的想
to
法
the
的
hidden
重启。
forces.
虽然这是重启速度最
Although
快的一
this was
次，
the fastest reset so
但我
far,
也不忍
I
心再
couldn't
看格
bear
雷
to
修坐这里
see
吃饭。
Gricio
果
struggling
然还是
to
装成不小心打
swallow.
翻石头
I should
了，
probably
只
tip
剩了
over
一
the
杯水。
food box by accident, leaving only water. If that's the case,
今天
today would
就又
proceed
能
as
按部就班
usual.
地推进了。
But in the end, whether it was business as usual or something different, it didn't make much difference to me. Because the Gricio I know is naturally positive, and as reluctant as she is to leave this place, she will always look forward to tomorrow and the days beyond after a little guidance. If you want to draw a crab, you need to draw the waves and the beach first. If you want to find a door to exit the cycle, you must first find a key that symbolizes hope and a heart that's determined enough. As her painting, I'm afraid I don't have something as precious as a heart, and can only hold on tight to my key. But somehow, as I watched again and again, the colors in front of me became increasingly vivid, as if I had become a painter like Gricio. The colors spoke to me of their temperatures, tastes, and mood, intertwined into one leaping note after another, kissed and hugged my armor, and sometimes danced around my fingers. I didn't know if this was a chain reaction from that night, or a gift secretly given to me by a sweet girl. The only thing I knew was that, just as she hoped for my happiness, I also wished for her to find genuine happiness. However, reality often seemed to have a penchant for showing everyone a cold reality check when things were looking up. The girl who always greeted me with a smile? Today, she didn't wake up. At this moment, outside the repeating dream, in the forbidden ground, Phosphorus and Hesperus, reflecting on all the events that had transpired on her journey, she couldn't help but release a sigh. In her career as a detective, she had grown accustomed to surprises and unexpected turns, and her current experiences were no exception. During her travels, she had found herself in a foreign world due to a peculiar space warp, and with the assistance of enthusiastic representatives, she had stumbled upon the Ark, which had lost contact with the Earth a millennium ago. In the end, after getting rid of the radiant mist and the mysterious being that sought to take over her body, she finally met the enforcer of Project Ark, Gricio. Thankfully, the dormancy capsule remained functional, and green seal within it continued to sleep soundly. But the most challenging part lies right here.
但最麻烦的事情也就在这里。
The control panel outside the dormancy capsule is malfunctioning, and supposedly breaking through the shell might harm Grey Seal. Therefore, at this moment, I have to find another safe way to activate the dormancy capsule from within the Ark. Having determined her next step, she didn't rush into action. She was searching within the vast sea of memories for recollections related to the day when the miracle happened. That's all. So, does anyone have questions about Project Ark? Very well, since the enforcer himself doesn't have any questions, let's call it a day. Wait, what is it? Your presentation gives a very detailed description of what can be done by Project Ark, but for the most crucial part of the plan, which is what the enforcer should do, your explanation is somewhat vague. Why is that? I see your point. To be honest, this part doesn't require an explanation. In my opinion, anyone with normal logical and cognitive abilities and color recognition skills can be enforcer of Project Ark. During the initial design, I aimed to streamline the Ark's complex operating system. Pressing the red number 1 button allows the Ark to take off, while the green activates the dormancy capsule. See, it's quite straightforward, isn't it? But of course, if Cosmo himself finds it too boring, he can always switch from beginner mode to expert mode. And I've also taken into account all the potential unexpected scenarios that the Ark might run into and prepared a variety of portable SOPs, plus an AI-powered troubleshooting system. Are those the ones you had me recorded? You're referring to the greatest advanced engineering equipment, SOP, compiled by the greatest engineer of the century who dedicated half her life to this book. That's a small part of it, but you're right. In any case, even a kid like Grey Seal, after 10 minutes of training, can become a passenger of the Ark. Perhaps this example is not quite appropriate. However, this is all the explanation I have for the execution part. According to that, I should prioritize finding the control panel that can activate the troubleshooting system. Portable SOPs are more likely to be carried by Grey Seal. Alright, time to go.
出发吧。这个控制台
This console is the same as the one I discovered in the glowing mist.
但那时
But I couldn't have accessed internal information without the help of V. Now,
算了，
overthinking won't help. At least I should try.
先试试看吧。
Conducting facial recognition. Please wait.
来访者
Visitor
为火
identified
种
as
计划执
Project
行者
Amber Enforcer Hua.
已具备访
Access
问权限，
authorized. Control
正在
panel
换出控制
initiating.
密码。
Wait a moment. Did I already have access to the Ark
本来就拥有
system?
访问方舟系统的权限。
She suddenly remembered the recent conversation with V regarding the bug. I mean it. That mist you're seeing is just an illusion concealing the truth. And, well, the shape this trick takes, that depends on you. As for the console, that's actually real. A rare flaw in the illusion. That's why I call it a bug. Does that make sense?
也就是说，
So in fact, V's
小 V 的
assistant
帮助
wasn't the crucial
其
part
实
at
从头
all.
到尾都不重要，是我那
My
时的注意力
focus
集
at
中于
that
漏
time was on the
不是为
bug,
小 V 画了
so I
重关系。
overcome the crucial part of V's
控制
words.
台本来就
The
是现实中
console
的
is
控制台，
actually real.
才
That
给了
allowed
他
her
可
to
乘之机。
exploit the situation. I should
事已
take
至
a
此，
look at what the
还是
console
先
has
看
to
看控制台能
offer.
做些什么吧。
This process didn't take much time. As Velvi mentioned, the complex internal operating system of the Ark have been significantly simplified. Therefore, the info displayed on the screen right now was only a few recommendations represented by simple numbers. That's it.
就是这个。
Hua troubleshoots. Please begin your query with question, and I shall endeavor to provide an answer. Question: Is there any way to open the dormancy capsule if the control panel on the outside is not working?
还有什么办法能打开休眠舱？
Clarification: Is your ultimate objective awaiting the pilot within the dormancy capsule? Yes. Prepare yourself psychologically for the scenario where the pilot may not regain consciousness after waking up. The pilot had been in hibernation for a total of 500,000 days. The Ark has remained in landed state. The system has made multiple attempts to awaken her, each of which has concluded in failure. Perhaps her consciousness has perpetually remained in a state of hibernation within her body. I don't need perhaps, just tell me how to open the capsule. If you're mentally prepared, please proceed to the console at the end of the corridor. Disconnect the capsule from the auxiliary power system. This will deactivate all modules within the dormancy capsule and force the door to open. Even though she knew the answer now, Hua just stood there staring at the ground, frozen in silence for almost 3 minutes. She knew the worst-case scenario that happened, a total mental breakdown. When something like that happened, there'd be no turning back. Whether it's the Hirsch of sentience or the Hirsch of finality, they'd all prove unhelpful. After all, it's like how time can empower gentle breezes and dripping water to gradually reshape even the toughest rocks. But the bits that got carried away would vanish without a trace, never to return again in this world. Wait, the way things are right now,
不对，如今的状况，
it's just way too suspicious. Hua accesses the monitoring system of the Ark's gene bank.
从
From
监
the
控画面来
surveillance
看，
footage, the
金
gene
库往
bank
后了，
appeared to be
但标
intact.
志着金库正常
However,
运
the
转的指
indicator
灯
light that
没有
signifies
亮
normal
起。
operation
提
is
问：
off.
方舟的
Question:
功
Is
能
there
系
an
统出
issue
现
with
问
the
题了。
Ark's power supply system?
检测到疑问，
Inquiry
即将进行
identified.
解答。
Response coming
方
up.
舟当前
The
功能
current
效
power
率
efficiency of the
18%
Ark stands at 18.7%, a 0.46 decrease from yesterday. Recommend to activate in situ resource collection system immediately or suspend the use of the dormancy capsule. Why the dormancy capsule? It has the highest energy consumption among all the facilities. The Ark's primary engine remains unlocated. Without intervention, the energy reserves in the auxiliary power system are projected to deplete within a few years.
主发动机为什么会？
The main engine is unaccounted for. Does that mean it's essentially been running on backup power? But given the Ark's design,
那么，
why would the main
来自那个时代的
engine?
所有基因样本，
No, that's not the point here.
检测到错误。
If the gene bank can operate normally due to insufficient
基因
power
库内存放的
supply,
3844
then
套
wouldn't all
动
the
植物基
genetic
因资源
samples from that era be at
216组
risk?
人类基因样本，以全部
Error
投入使用
detected. Correction in progress. The gene bank contains 3844 sets of flora and fauna genetic resources and 216 sets of human genetic samples, all of which have been fully utilized. What? In an instant, a dreadful feeling gripped her. She was gasping for air, yet still attempting to use her wit to shake it off. Question: Who initiated the use of the gene bank?
是谁？是方舟
It's
计
the
划执行
enforcer
者
of Project Ark,
格雷修。
Gricio.
那么，
Then does the
监控
monitoring
系统有记录下
system
当时的
have
画面吗？
records of
很遗
footage
憾，
from that time?
在监控系统漫
Regrettably,
长
due to
的运行过
extended
程中，
operation of the
当年的
monitoring
影像
system,
已被
the
完全
footage
覆
of
盖，
that time
无法调
cannot
取。
be
不过，
retrieved for
我
its
可以为你提供
overwritten.
方舟起航以来的
But
全
I
部
can
航行日
furnish you
志。
with a
它与
comprehensive
影像记
navigation
录的储
log
存
on the
原理
Ark
不同，
since its
或许
inception.
能为你
It
提供更多
operates
信
on a
息。
distinct storage
谢谢。
principle compared to the visual recording and may provide
请为
you
我
with
展示。
information. That'd be great. Please display it for me now. As she replayed the scene in her mind, she did her best to rattle off the ID numbers in the right order from those recent navigation logs she'd skimmed through in the bag. What surprised her was that the system's recording logs matched
其
V's
实只有两种可能，
presentation down to the last detail.
其
So
一，
when it comes down to it,
小 V
there
杜撰
could
了这
be
些历
only
史，
two possibilities.
并让一切在他离开后仍然
On the
生
one
效。
hand, V could have
这
cooked
听上
up
去似
this
乎过于复
history
杂。
and made it all work even after
其
she
二，
left, which
小 V
sounds
根本
pretty
没有撒谎，
complicated. On the
他
other
只是将
hand,
系统记录
V
下的
might
信息
not have lied
原
at
原本本
all.
地呈
She
现了出
simply
来。
showed the info as it was stored in the system.
无论格雷修在方舟坠落时遭遇了什么，最终的结果都是他豪放无双的沉
Regardless
睡
of
于
what
休眠
Greasy
舱。
went through during the Ark's descent, the end
但基
result
因
was
库里
that
的
she
基因样
peacefully
本全部
slept in
投
the
入使用，
dormancy capsule without a
这是
scratch.
不争的事实。
However, it's an
假设开
undeniable
启基因库
fact
的人
that
真
all
是
the
格雷修，
genetic samples within the
从
gene
那一
bank
刻起，
have been fully
他就绝
utilized.
无理由继续休
Assuming
眠。
Greasy is indeed the
所以
one who acts as the gene bank,
最有可
from
能的
that
情况
moment she had no reason to
就
remain
是
in
某人在格雷修
hibernation.
休眠期间
So the most likely
盗取了他
scenario
的
is
权
that
限，
someone stole Greasy's
甚至
authorization during her
那个人就是
hibernation
让格雷修
period.
困于休眠
Maybe
舱的
that
罪魁祸
person
首。
was responsible for Greasy being trapped in the dormancy capsule too. At this point, the images of two individuals suddenly crushed Fu Hua's mind. V, who had a deep understanding of the forbidden area, and that woman who had always appeared in Vita's memories but had never actually showed
不
up.
过，无论罪魁祸首是谁，
However,
那个人对格雷
regardless
修的
of
态
who
度
the culprit might
都具
be,
有诸多
the
难解
person's
之处。
attitude toward Grisio raises many puzzling questions.
为什么对
For
方要让格雷
instance,
修一直处于
why
休
did
眠
they
状态？
keep Grisio in a state of
当然，
hibernation
这值得庆
all
幸。
this time? Of
毕竟
course,
从一般犯罪
something
的
to
角
be
度来说，
thankful for. After all, from a conventional criminal perspective. Hua accesses the monitoring system of the Ark's corridor. The moment Fu Hua tapped the screen, she immediately felt a subtle vibration, and there was definitely something that had fallen deep within the corridor due to it. Yet, the screen itself remained unchanged.
回廊的监控系统看来是
Seems
坏
like the
了。
monitoring system in the corridor is malfunctioning.
至于刚刚的声
As
响
for，that noise just
去确认
now,
一下吧。
I'll go and check it out.
涂鸦痕迹，
Graffiti marks. This is
这的确是
something
格雷修
Grisio
会做
would
的事
do.
啊。这碎
This
片，
fragment.
我似
I
乎在
feel
哪里
like
见
I've
过。
seen it somewhere before. Wait, could
难
it
道
be?
说，
Fu
花
Hua,
姐，
we should
我
probably
们或
have
许应该在
introduced
先
this
向你介绍
exhibit
这
to
件
you
展品。
first.
毕竟整
After
座
all,
弗
the
罗斯
entire
城
city
都
of
建立在它
Phosphorus
的
is
基础
built
上。
on it. Huh?
这并不是普通的
This
碎
isn't
石，
a regular
而是
stone, but
一枚
meteor
创造新生
fragment
的
that
流
brought
星碎
forth new
片。
life. Yeah,
那
it's
是
a
一段
slice
弗
of
罗斯
history
城
that
南进
everyone
接着
in
的历史。
Phosphorus knows.
如
If
果
the
方舟的碎
fragment
片
of the Ark is
就是
indeed
维特
what
们
the
口中
Beatles
创
referred
造
to
新
as
生
the
的碎
one that
片，
brought forth new
那
life,
么
then Qiming,
也就是
also
弗罗
known
斯
as Phosphorus,
就
must be a
必然是方
product
舟
of
播
the
种后的
Ark's
产物。
seeding. Her recent hunch had just been proven right, but her current mood was far from being at ease. The truth had now put the one she had least wanted to suspect in the spotlight, awaiting judgment. By the way, what does representative stand for? A representative is a representative. We're responsible for providing public services. Does it mean you represent other citizens? You can say that. The history of this city dates back to the myth of the world creation. We can't afford to let such a long-standing civilization end. Now thinking back, even though the Vitas had passionate about the city and the job, they never disclosed who they were stepping in for. Meanwhile, that person's attitude towards the representative was also peculiar. She was willing to grant them the symbol of authority, the key, yet she didn't allow them to use it to access the forbidden area and investigate the gate. So she didn't want them to know everything inside. But looking at it from a different angle, this green seal is right here and untouched. Is that person really afraid of the representative knowing the truth about the city? Forget it. Instead of pondering here, it might be better to go back to just ask Cyan and Orange directly. Now there's just one investigation option left. Hua accesses the monitoring system of the bedroom. Wait, why is there monitoring in the bedroom? Inquiry identified, response is imminent. The Ark has only one pilot. If this individual experiences health issues and the system fails to respond promptly and intervene, the consequences could be dire. Monitoring systems throughout the Ark is fundamentally aimed at preventing such situations. I understand. Thank you for your explanation. Are you sure after the second launch of the Ark, there's still only one pilot? Affirmed. Then who is this Marvin? The Ark's navigation log contains 328 entries referencing Marvin. Would you like me to retrieve them? Not necessary. Could you locate the logs that feature Marvin's appearance? 23 logs featuring depiction of Marvin found. The moment the paintings lined up on the screen, she was stunned. It wasn't because Marvin's image was particularly astonishing or because the emotions conveyed in the paintings were too moving. Greasy was simply documenting everything as it was. It was precisely this raw authenticity that finally made Fuhua realize a fact that couldn't have been more obvious. From the perspective that was glaringly evident before her, Project Art might have been the most challenging of all of the plans proposed by the previous era. She not only overlooked this fact, but also underestimated Greasy, who had returned with the Ark thousands of years ago and had made the determination to set sail once more. Time to go. No matter what, I cannot keep Greasy waiting any longer. Yeah. The girl who always hid and painted in the art studio has long become a remarkable hero.